everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the CWNY's Career Skills Workshop Series with Gail Lewis. This is the first for the year and we are excited and have lots of fun workshops planned for you. The Center for the Women of New York, as you see here, we are an established 501c3 nonprofit organization empowering women since 1987. We have 2 locations currently, one here where I'm located right now in the beautiful Fort Totten Bayside area. We also have another office in the Queensborough Hall building where you can absolutely lean on us for programs and services as we are starting to launch and relaunch as much of our programs and services as possible. Next slide. Here's just a quick glimpse as to some of the programs and services we currently have in our menu. And you can also find this on our website, and it'll give you a bit more information for each of the menu items. As I mentioned, this is a recording that you can easily find on our website if you want to go back and watch it or share it with friends and family who would benefit from it, or in any spaces. And here is where you would find our past recordings. As much as we are here to interact and engage with each other, if you have any questions during Gail's presentation, please populate it into the chat and we will answer as much of those questions if we can, if it's relevant during the presentation. If not, we absolutely are looking forward to our Q&A after the presentation. And again, we will kick off and I'll turn it over to Gail.
Thank you so much, Raquel, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another workshop series here at the Center for the Women of New York. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started with time management. So good afternoon and welcome to Time Management in the Workplace and Beyond. I am Gail Lewis and I'm your presenter today. When I'm not here with the Center for the Women of New York, you can find me as a professor of communications at CUNY. So it gives me great pleasure to use those skills here today. This is an interactive workshop, so if you have any questions moving along, please feel free to put them in the chat and we can talk about them as we go along, or we can address them at the end as well. So feel free to interact and put those questions in the chat. There's a lot said about time management. Have you ever felt like there just aren't enough hours in the day? It's Monday today, and we had 2 days of weekend, 48 whole hours. But yet on Monday, don't you sometimes feel like you could have had another day or 2 off from work? Or maybe you are changing jobs, or you are in other situations where you feel like there just isn't enough time to get the things that you want to get done. Well, then this is the right place for you today. Time management and workplace, in the workplace and also at home, is so important to being effective in all areas of our lives. So let's jump into it. As I always like to start, I ask the question, who gets hired in the workplace and who gets ahead at work? Well, who gets hired? People with excellent credentials, right? People who have experience in the workplace or people who have certain educations. Who gets ahead at work? People who perform, people who bring in revenue or do very well on reviews, do very well in the workplace. But when you're asking who gets hired and who gets ahead, people who manage their time well. So, learning how to manage your time well is so important in the workplace as far as getting hired and then keeping the job. And of course, there are so many advantages to good time management at home as well. So, we'll talk about that too. I see that Valerie is just having a challenge with hearing. Maybe Valerie, if you could reconnect, that might work for you. So let's move along. What do you have agency over? There are so many moving parts in all of our lives that sometimes there aren't a lot of things that we have control over. You might not have control over where you work or certainly who you work with, but learning how to manage your time both in the workplace and at home can help you navigate your work life and assist you in achieving both your professional and your personal goals. So, learning good time management is something that you have control or agency over. So today we're going to look at time management by first looking at exactly what we mean when we say time management. Second, we're going to look at why time management is so important. And then lastly, we're going to look at tools that we can all use to manage our time more effectively. So let's get started. What is time management? I know that you hear that a lot, right? We always hear people saying, oh, time management, manage my time well. But what exactly do people mean when they say that? Well, according to Indeed, Indeed.com is a place that you can go online if you're looking for a job or looking for maybe to change industries, or maybe you want to see what other jobs are out there. A great resource is Indeed.com. There's a listing of jobs in your local area, listings of jobs all over the country in so many different capacities. So if you are curious, or if you're looking for a job or maybe looking to change industries, Indeed.com is a great place to start. So, according to Indeed, time management refers to the coordination of tasks and activities to maximize the effectiveness of someone's efforts. So, effective time management helps us to get more and better work done in less time. Elements of time management include organization, planning, and scheduling to better take advantage of the available time that we have. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I had more time? Well, if you've ever wished for more time to complete tasks that you need to do, or to spend more time with loved ones, or even just to relax and do the things that you want to do, you've come to the right place. Effective time management helps parents, leaders, entrepreneurs, if you're running your own business, employees, small business owners, all achieve their goals. Managing time wisely improves your work life balance and increases happiness and self confidence. So, let's take a deeper dive into why time management is so important. Effective time management skills can lead to better work quality at work, more time to work on projects, more productivity, accomplishing more in less time, working smarter, not harder. And all of this leads to greater career success. So let's break it down. If you've got good time management skills, that means that it leaves you more time to work on really important projects at work so that you can manage your time better to focus on the really important things in the workplace. That leads you to be more productive, and that leads you to do those really important things at work, important projects, important reports well. That's going to get you noticed, and that's going to help you get ahead at work. Additionally, effective time management skills lead to less overall stress. Think about it. Who's ever run for the bus because you were late, or driven like a crazy person because your kids had to get somewhere on time? I'm most certainly guilty, guilty, guilty. Effective time management leads to less rushing around. Decreasing that rushing around is going to calm you and give you less overall stress in your life. And that lowering of the stress is going to increase your focus on each task. So you can see time management's really important in just decreasing the overall stress in your life. Additionally, good time management skills increase your self-confidence. I know I'm guilty of being pretty hard on myself when I procrastinate. When I put tasks aside and just don't do them and then hurry to get them done at the last minute, I often beat myself up. I say, oh, I could have done such a better job on that. I wish I hadn't waited till the last minute. And it really kind of affects my self confidence. Well, good time management is going to help you with your self confidence. Less procrastination means less beating yourself up, which is going to help you overall with your self confidence. Lastly, time management is so important because it gives you more time for the things you love. Leaves you more time to be with your family, more time to hang out with friends and reconnect. These are the things that we want to be doing out of life. Effective time management gives us more time for the things that help us renew and recharge. Effective time management also gives us time to learn new things, take new training opportunities as they come up. Hey, effective time management allows you to attend more of these workshops at lunchtime. So, effective time management helps you to really have the time to do the things that you love. So, you can see time management affects so many aspects of our lives that it's really important to learn these skills. So that takes us to our next area of analysis, tools that are going to help us manage our time more effectively. There are 4 tools that help us more effectively manage time. The 4 tools that assist in time management are making lists. Second, avoiding multitasking. And I know what you're thinking, so we'll get there in just a moment. Next, putting a time limit on tasks. That's really important. And number 4, plan your week on Sunday. So let's get started with number 1, making lists. My mom was a huge list maker. On her kitchen table, there was always a list. There was a grocery list. There was a list of things to do, pay bills, um, get a new garbage can, whatever it is, clean the refrigerator. There was always a running list on her kitchen table. And I learned from that that lists are a great way to stay organized. Create lists of the thoughts that you have or the tasks that you need to accomplish as they come to your mind. Our brains are so filled with so many things that sometimes it's just hard to keep track of a list in our minds. The better way to do it is when you think of something, put it in a list. So create those lists of things that you have to do, things that you need to accomplish. Make a grocery list, of course. I'm a big fan of that. Also, make other lists as well. Calls that you need to make. Maybe you need to make doctor's appointments for the kids. Go, make a list of those things. Calls or things that you have to do online. Also, things to follow up on. Maybe somebody reached out to you and you need to reach back out to them. Make lists of all of these things. Lists make it easier to remember which tasks you need to revisit later. So, it's still on my list. I still haven't done it. I've got to put some energy into that. List making helps you refocus and reminds you what you haven't done so that you can get it done. There's lots of different ways to make lists. So, there are many free apps available in the app stores on your phone. But the thing that I find that just works very well for me when it comes to making lists is just to text myself. If you look at the texts on your phone, the list of texts on your phone, the only person who texts you from your number is you. So if you look under your text list, you'll see the text from you to you. And in that little snippet can be where all of your lists live. So going grocery shopping, make the list in there, text it to yourself. The reason why I like the text list is because it's easy for me to go in there and add things. And it's also easy as I have completed tasks to just delete them. So use a list making app on your phone. They're available for free, or just text yourself. Both ways work very, very well in just keeping track of all of the things that we really need to get done in the day. Or if you're going to make a list, you can go old school, my mom's style, and make a list with a small notepad and just add things to the list as they come to your mind. My mom, like I said, had a list on her kitchen table and a list in her purse on a small notepad. So however it works best for you, you can make that list on a piece of paper. However, you're making your lists, whether electronically or with pen and paper, at the end of the day, review the tasks on your list and create a to-do list for the next day, another list, knowing that everything is handled. So the things that you maybe didn't get to today, maybe you didn't return that phone call, or maybe you didn't have a chance to follow up with that doctor, make sure that you put those on the next day's list of things to do. Lists just keep everything focused. They remind us of the things that we need to get done and the things that maybe are more or less important as well. Lastly, when you're making a list, if it's a lot of things on there, like me, sometimes my list can get kind of big. What you want to do is just put them in order of the things that are really immediate and need to get done first. You can just put the number 1 or 2 next to it if you're writing it down, or you can just put those numbers next to it as well on your phone. That way, it also helps you refocus on those really, really important things that you don't want to fall through the cracks. In addition to making lists, there are other things you can do, other tools you can use to more effectively manage your time. This one kind of goes against what we've been taught as women, especially. No multitasking. Now, I know we're all good at it. We can talk on the phone and make dinner while taking care of our toddler simultaneously. Absolutely. But just because we are able to multitask doesn't mean we should. To effectively manage your time, focus on one task at a time. Many well-known studies have shown that multitasking slows your overall productivity. So instead of focusing on that one task and getting it done and moving on to the next task, what happens often with multitasking is that all of those tasks get done a little bit without really focusing or finishing any one, or maybe finishing it behind schedule. So it's much better to focus on one particular task at a time. It's more effective to just finish that one job first before moving on to the next. And I know this is kind of against what we've all been taught, and maybe even against what we've been taught as women, because we just do this naturally. But when it comes to the important things, especially, focus on one task at a time. Finish that task and then move on to the next. In addition to not multitasking and instead focusing on one task at a time, another effective way to manage your time is to put a limit on tasks, a time limit on tasks. I love to do puzzles. There's always a puzzle on my old desk at home. So if I want to, I can sit down and do a little bit of the puzzle and then revisit it on another day, etc. But I just love doing puzzles. I love doing puzzles so much that if you let me, I would sit down at my puzzle desk and I would do puzzles for the next 3, 4, 5 hours without stopping. So you've got to put a time limit on tasks, not just the tasks that you enjoy, but all of the tasks. A friend of mine loves cleaning the bathroom. I know, it's crazy, right? But if you let her, she would clean the bathroom for 2 hours. So put a time limit on your tasks. So instead of saying, I've got all afternoon to clean the bathroom, say, I'm going to clean the bathroom for 30 minutes, for example. Put a time limit on the things that you have to get done. There's a law. It's called Parkinson's Law. And according to Parkinson's Law, work will expand to fill the time that's available for completion. I'm going to say that again. Work will expand to fill the time that's available for completion. So if I just sit down at my puzzle table and start doing a puzzle, I might do it all day. But on my puzzle table, I have a little clock and I set the clock for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever I have. And I set the clock and I start doing my puzzle. That way I know I've got 15 minutes to really enjoy my puzzle doing. And then after my time is up, I'll move on to something else. That works because if you don't have a time limit on something, what you're doing will just expand to take all of the time up, all of the time that's available for completion. So setting a time limit is so important. By setting time constraints for certain items and tasks, you will naturally focus better and work more efficiently. I think to myself, when I have 15 minutes to do a puzzle, I'm focused on that puzzle for 15 minutes. And then after that, I can move on to the next task. And now, if you discover that your work that you're doing is taking you beyond the time limits that you set up for it, just reassess and readjust your scheduling. Remember that making lists and putting a time limit on tasks, all of these things, they are a work in progress. So if you find that maybe a particular report that you're doing or a project that you're working on takes more time than you had originally allotted, adjust your scheduling accordingly. This is always a work in progress. As we get better at this, we'll be more in tune with our needs. So, in addition to putting a time limit on tasks, another way to effectively manage your time is to plan your week on a Sunday. This one is really important. Yesterday was Sunday. Today is Monday. When we transition from the weekend into the work week, it's a lot of transition. We probably have to get up a little bit earlier on a Monday than we did on the weekend. We have certain things that we've got to get done during the week. So it's really important on a Sunday just to take 15 minutes out and plan your week. Going into Monday after a weekend with a plan for your week will help you in that transition from the weekend into a productive work week. I know my family, we're like slugs on Monday. So on Monday, I try not to schedule anything. So after work, everything, it's go straight home because Monday is a very sluggish day for us. It's hard for us to get back into the routine. On Monday, I start teaching at 8 o'clock, so we're up early, and it's just a long day after a leisurely weekend. So I know on Mondays not to schedule anything. Tuesdays, however, I feel a little bit more energized. So on Tuesday, that's the day when I do creative tasks. And it's also the day where if anyone in the family has other things to do, maybe after schools, band practice, whatever it is, doctor's appointments, Tuesday is a great day because we feel a little bit more recharged on Tuesday than we do on Monday. Ask your kids on a Sunday, what do you have going on this week? And then make your schedule accordingly. If you know that your family, for example, is sluggish on a Monday or during other specific moments throughout the week, schedule low priority tasks for those days. It works really well. If you know your productivity peaks on a Tuesday or maybe on a Wednesday or maybe both, schedule the most creative and demanding things for that day. Maybe that's the day that you take the kids out, or maybe that's the day that you go grocery shopping, or maybe that's the day that you attack that project at work. You've got to figure it out for yourself and for your family and for your work schedule. Whatever works for you might not work for your best friend. So just figure it out when you are more effective and what's going on in your family's life. And then on Sunday, schedule accordingly. Having a plan on a Sunday sets you up for success all week long. Just knowing that you've got some uptime and some downtime scheduled into your week makes things more tenable, makes things a lot easier on your body, on your mind, and it just puts things into focus. When you've got that plan for the week, it's really easy to focus on what's important, the things that need to get done, and the people who mean the most to you. So, now that we've looked at 4 tools for more effectively managing time, let's review. First, we looked at making lists. My mom wasn't wrong with leaving that list on the kitchen table. We can all learn from that. A running list of tasks that we need to get done is going to keep us focused on our family lives and our work lives. Number 2, I know multitasking, but try this. Focus on one task at a time. It's going to help you again focus on that one task and also aid you in getting that task done. Number 3, put a time limit on tasks. Set a timer if you have to set a timer in your on your phone, or make a note of when you start things or how much time you're allotting for particular tasks. Remember, if you don't have an idea of how much time you're going to spend on something, you're going to spend a lot more time on it. So have a time limit. We're going to, if you don't say, for example, when your kids come home from school, that they can watch television for 1 hour, come 6:30, 7 o'clock, they're still gonna be planted on the sofa watching TV. So set a time limit on things. Use your phone for half an hour. You can scroll social media for 20 minutes. You can watch that half an hour TV show. Whatever it is, make sure, especially with your kids, but in your work life as well, that you put a time limit on the task that you're doing. And number 4, plan your week on Sunday. I tell you, I can't stress this one enough. Having a plan as you go into your work week and the week with your family just sets everything up for you. If you're looking for work, for example, on Sunday, sit down and think to yourself, what am I going to do this week as far as finding a job? Maybe Monday, I'll visit the local library and get some assistance with writing my resume. Maybe Tuesday I'll sit down and I'll go through Indeed.com or LinkedIn for job postings. Maybe Wednesday I'll go to a group at the community center in my neighborhood about interviewing skills. But you can see having a plan for your week as to how you might find a new job is going to help you so much more in getting a job than if you don't have a plan for your week. Because you might look up if you don't have a plan for the week and it might be Thursday and you might say, oh my goodness, I didn't plan. I didn't get the things done that I needed to get done to get me a new job. So whatever the situation is, whether you're employed or looking for work or looking to change jobs, whether you've got 1 kid or 5 kids, going into the week with a plan is going to just help you focus on your family and focus on the important things that have to get done at work. So I'd like to say now, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Also, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. Remember that this is part of a workshop series, and we'd love it if you could join us on Monday, March 4th for our next workshop. That is going to be mock job interviews. So if you're nervous about going out on a job interview, this is going to be the workshop for you. You can see some do's and don'ts, and you can get some real hands-on experience about what is going to help you with creating a great experience in a job interview. So if you are looking for a job, know someone who's looking for a job, maybe you're thinking about changing jobs, come to our next workshop about job interviews and look at some of the mock job interviews so you can figure out what's going to work best for you on your next job interview. Thanks so much, Ron, for your kudos. And thanks, Shonda, as well for your kudos. I think right now I'm going to turn it back over to Raquel and Victoria. Hi, ladies. Oh, and if I could for just one more moment before I turn it over to you, I'm sorry. I'm going to give a shameless plug. First of all, I'm Professor Gail Lewis. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today, feel free to email me, glewis@qcc.cuny.edu. And now my shameless plug. I am a Toastmaster. Toastmasters is a not-for-profit club organization with clubs all over. So there are clubs all over New York, all over New York City, and all over the world. So if you're looking for a place to practice your public speaking and leadership skills, check out Toastmasters at toastmasters.org and see if there's a club in your local town. Maybe you'll go and check them out and see if it's for you. And if it is for you, you'll learn public speaking and leadership skills from local people who do it best. Now that I've got my shameless plug out of the way, Victoria, can I turn it over to you?
Please do. So adding to what Gail said about Toastmasters, the club that you search for doesn't necessarily need to be in your neighborhood. It could be in a time frame that you're available. So you can type in the days of the week that you'd like to attend, and you can first attend as a guest and then maybe join a club. So, and if you can turn out as well as Gail did, I highly recommend Toastmasters. So thanks, Gail, for such a wonderful presentation.
Victoria, if you don't mind, I'm actually sitting, this morning, we had our ESL class. And I think many of our participants are on the call and was able to join. But I do have with me a very special guest, one of our ESL participants and our resident artist who is doing some fabulous artwork for us, but she actually has a question and she's in person. So I would love to give her this opportunity.
Sure.
This is Sophie.
Yes, my question is, which app to do a list? Which app is better? Because if I search maybe a bunch of lists. Yeah.
There are so many. Thank you so much for that question. The question was about the free apps on your phone. Do I have a preference for one or the other? I tell you, just like you said, there are so many that are free. I would say just check them out and see which one works for you best. For me, I did try the free apps, but what works for best for me is just old school texting myself. So I really haven't revisited the apps. So check out your app store. There's lots of free ones on there, and just check out which one works best for your situation.
Yes, another, right? List
Yeah.
maker.
And as I shared with Gail this morning, I'm even more old school. I go to TJ Maxx and I buy all of the prettiest notepads and I make notebooks and I make my lists. And it really does help, just for you to gather your focus at times. I know everyone is on some sort of technology, so it's easier at times, but there's nothing like a pretty list. And I saw Dina just put in the chat, this was so needed. I think, Gail brought up some really great and powerful points. Pre-pandemic, I think us as women, we were celebrated if we were able to multitask, right? Like get as much done, get so much multitasking, get this, get that. And now I want to say that so much more is valued if you can just do 3 things for the day and
Yeah.
check it off the list, right? And if anyone, yes, and if anyone in the Zoom today, if you have a recommendation for an app, please free to put it in the chat, share it with us, or even share some technique or strategy that you do yourself. Maybe it's different from what we shared here today. But
Elaine also chimed in and said that she uses Post-it notes and those work for her because I mean you can move them, right? So that's a great idea. Thank you for that, Elaine.
And Gail, corporations use Post-it note strategies now. Every meeting, there's this whole big wall of Post-it notes. So yeah.
Sometimes I feel
We have a recommendation from Lana. Check all installed apps for what are pre-installed on your technology. Please continue to write your questions in the chat, and you can always raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask the question as well. We would like to speak a little bit about the center. So again, these are our upcoming events, and as Raquel mentioned earlier, you can visit our website, CWNY.org, for the specific times and descriptions of these offerings we have. And do consider becoming a member. When you become a member, you join like-minded individuals who support women in all aspects, and you become a member of a wonderful organization, and through your membership, you are donating to our services and programs. If you would like to donate as well, or instead, you can go to cwny.org/donations. And these are, again, our 2 locations. And the website again, CWNY.org, and our email address for inquiries, info@CWNY.org. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter X, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel where you can go directly there for all of these recordings of career workshop, financial literacy, think tanks on women's issues, and we also have a podcast channel. I would like to add something to what Gail said. She said something about setting a timer. Unless our participant had another question?
No, but I did see that Denise put in the chat that she has another great option for us. As far as an app, the AnyDo app is a good option according to Denise. So that might be something else to kind of focus you if you're looking for a time management app on your phone. AnyDo, ANYDO as an app. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise. So while we're waiting for other questions, Gail mentioned a timer. A dear friend of mine, when we were much, much younger, decided to start her own business, but she wisely kept her day job and started building clientele and started really launching her business. And what she said to me, she just happened to call me as a friend calls each other. She said, "Oh, that's my timer. I've got to go. I've got to contact another new client." So she set up a schedule using a 15-minute timer to cold call prospective clients before she launched her business. So that's the other woman we'd like to help, and that is our future entrepreneurs. Those of us who want a side gig to supplement our income, do consider using a timer. It's old-fashioned, but it works.
I think it's also a great tool or technique for us parents, for those who are parents. Just listening to so much of this presentation, I'm guilty. Some of our habits transfer to our children. So if we get home from work and we are multitasking, I've noticed for my son in particular, his focus is not, where it should be, right? Because he's also, me moving from one thing to the next or asking a different question is also disrupting his, time management skill. So this is a great conversation, even for those who are parents or guardians or caregivers. It's really important as we're learning this skill. We have such an incredible community here today, and we want to give you as much opportunity to engage with us, to ask a question, or even if you think of it after, feel free to email us as well at info@cwny.org, or reach out to us on social media. If you are not already, follow us on social media. All of our registrations, all of our upcoming events, like the series that Gail is going to be hosting for us, you'll see more of those notifications going. If you think of any other resource or class that would be beneficial to the public in general, please give us an email, drop us an email and let us know what we should be paying attention to, because there are just so many diverse needs. And we're trying to meet as many as we possibly can, but you never know, you might need something and that might prompt us to host a presentation that would be helpful to others.
While we're waiting for questions, the lately new phenomenon of working remotely, it's very common, and we're spending more and more time at home, but working. That has sort of a reverse problem. We may spend too much time working and not enough time for our needs, our family needs, our personal needs. So perhaps that timer suggestion could help us keep on track with what we need to do for ourselves and our family. Not just because I know I'm guilty of it. With the volunteer work I do for the center, I love it so much that I'm neglecting my family, I'm neglecting my chores, neglecting my laundry. So I'm doing the reverse. I'm saying every morning, instead of diving into volunteer work email, I'm doing at least one chore, one task for my family before I start work. And it's working. I'm being less neglectful. So that is an issue too, spending too much time on work and not enough time on our other necessities and responsibilities.
And
Especially when we're doing it in one location, right?
right. Victoria, two other things as well to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying. As far as exercising goes, if you're trying to get, we're in February, so the people who joined gyms in January have stopped going there now. So there's plenty of room for the rest of us. So if you're interested in trying to get back into health and wellness, doing some sort of exercise first thing in the morning is a way of sticking with it as far as time management goes. So if you get up before your family gets up, before everyone needs you and needs your time, put some time aside for yourself, get up 20 minutes earlier, maybe take a walk around the block, whatever it is. But if you do it first thing in the morning, as far as time management goes, you'll stick with it. That's what the trend is. And also, secondly, respecting other people's time as well. That's a big part of time management. So if you know that you're going to be 10 minutes late, just let people know so that they can adjust their schedules as well. We all run late. If you have kids, you're always going to be late. It just is. It's, it's not you, it's kids in general. People understand. So just give people a heads up if you're going to be a few minutes late, or if you're not able to do something that you said you were going to do, just so that other people can plan their times. Just have respect for other people's time and make sure that they get that heads up as well.
I love that, Gail. My mom taught us to set our clocks 15 minutes behind so that we are always on time. I don't know how many people do that, but to piggyback off of what you piggybacked off of, I have learned as professionals, or even just in general, human beings, most of our time is so scheduled and planned out, for those who use the calendar. What has been working for me this January as I re-entered the gym force, I have learned to schedule it as if I would a meeting. Otherwise, I can't get to it. So now if it's in my calendar, which, I prioritize my calendar, if it's in my calendar, that means that's a priority for me. I have to go and I must do, and I must block out that time. And, Victoria, what you shared about, just the time as well, setting the time limits, it's also giving an opportunity to set boundaries. And I think that's where the world needs to get back to respecting boundaries, because our workspace and our home space is the same. If you don't set boundaries, that's where we run into, right? Working 14-hour days and neglecting things that can be a priority. So I just wanted to share that some of the, as we talk about these things, it's important to help others, because sometimes people are like, I don't know how to set boundaries.
I love the connection you made, Raquel. Setting boundaries is time management. It's
Mhm.
one and the same. So however you want to label it for yourself, that's going to make it work for you, do it. If you have a third way to label it, just do what works for you.
Yeah.
Because as Gail said, it will relieve stress from our lives. I know that I have an issue, because why am I so joyful when a meeting gets canceled? It's because I overbooked myself. You can't be a yes girl all the time. Sometimes you have to say no to something you enjoy. Why am I jumping up and down when something I love to do got canceled? Because it was too much. We can't keep saying yes, even to things that are of enjoyment. If they add stress to your life, getting to them and managing that in your schedule, sometimes it's best to do nothing, right? You need to
Yeah.
schedule time to do nothing.
And by a show of hands, how many of us think saying no is a form of self-care? Right?
Yeah, I have a question, because for me it's difficult to say no, reject my family member, because I have 2 girls and 1 boy. When they come home, one just graduated from college, one is in college in junior, the
Junior.
3rd year, right?
Mhm.
When they're going home, I should be stay by all the time. Ma, I'm going to grocery. Ma, drive me to my friend's house. Ma, I want to buy something. Can you go? Can you drive me to Mexico? So when they get home, I couldn't do anything for myself because I should stand by all the time. I try. For me, it's very difficult to say no because they ask me without any notice, just suddenly, oh, Mom, can you drive me to the, because for example, I'm painting, almost finished. I should stop to drive then to somewhere. It's really annoying, because sometimes when I paint, I couldn't stop. If I stopped, I won't finish. Stickers.
So yeah, you have to
Yeah,
practice saying
For me, it's
no.
very, very difficult because I don't want to upset them. I want everybody in family happy with me. But even I try my best, I still find that really didn't satisfy with me. They're still upset with me. I feel I didn't doing well.
So see, we are also trying to please everyone by saying
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's my personality is please the people personality.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Well, you have to set boundaries.
it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Thank you, Dina. Yes, practicing no. We should actually do a class, a self-esteem class on saying no.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. I didn't see any additional questions popped in the chat. And again, any last minute. And if not, we can be respectful of time and give everyone their 5 minutes back before they have to do something else. So thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Lana. Thank you so much, Gail. To all our participants, we welcome you each and every session that we have, but thank you so much. We appreciate you.